Okay, so it's about that time where time becomes precious, becomes precious. And so, as people who are managing a career, growing a business, time becomes extra precious. So, these next two conversations are going to center around the thing that pains us the most. It's time. Let's get into it. Are you ready? Good afternoon and welcome to HouJack DMS Live Learning. I am Gwendolyn G.R. Houston Jack. Welcome, welcome. So we're talking about time today. Today and now, according to our new schedule, we're having conversations every other Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central. So this one and the next one, we're going to talk about time. So first of all, we are streaming live to Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, we would love to have you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We have a good time here. We have a good time everywhere, but we have a good time here too. So we're talking today about time. And it's going to be a free-flowing conversation because the question on the books is it really a priority? That's the question. We have to ask ourselves, is it really a priority? So here is our list of topics for today. We are looking at a couple of things. We have the self-imposed deadline. Look at the priorities that we have, that we set for our daily routine. We're going to talk about what are the hard deadlines. There are a few activities and responsibilities that really do have definite deadlines and consequences. Let's discuss it. And then lastly, we need to reclaim our time. That's the last thing that we need to do. So we're having this free-flowing conversation. Again, as I say, this isn't going to be some of our normal conversations that we've had because time impacts all of us. We are all given a certain set of time, so many hours in the day. The question is, how are you going to use yours? Now, depending on where you lie, it could be everything is high priority. Okay, well, I'm telling you right now, that's a lie. I can go ahead and squash that one. That's not true. Everything is not a priority. And so today we want to investigate what really is a priority and what's not. So let's start off with our very first one, which are those self-imposed deadlines. And I mean that self-imposed. We just make stuff up. We really do. Some of this is not as important as we make it out to be. I myself am working on not using the word need and must. This needs to get done today. I need to do this. I got to do this. I must do this. I'm working on removing those words from my everyday language because, truth be told, everything does not need or must get done today. It doesn't. So if you think about our society likes this hustle and bustle mindset that we're always busy. If you're not busy, something must be wrong with you. Okay, you don't need to be busy every darn day of the year. You don't. You don't have to be busy every darn minute of the day, every hour, every second. It is not necessary. There is a need for rest. There's a need to recharge. There's a need to reset. But our society likes to have us so busy. Our kids are going from one activity to the next activity, and we're working here, and then we're coming home and doing this, and then we're so busy that we just feel as if we can't get anything done. It is self-imposed chaos. We're creating this chaos for ourselves because we have subscribed to a mindset that says, I should be busy every single hour of the day. And if I'm not busy, something's wrong with me. Okay. Those are lies. If there's anything that I want anyone to take away from this conversation and any conversation in the future, we got to stop telling ourselves some of these lies. We have to stop believing what really isn't there and what's just not true for us. For us. Now, I could talk about people who want to stay busy because they just hate like their own company, but that's not for this program. It's not for this. So this is self-made chaos. We create chaos for ourselves because everything really isn't a priority. It's just not, right? And so we have to wean our way off of the idea of always being busy, of always being somewhere and just not sitting still, being still. That's number one. Could I say that that's an easy task? I said I'm working on removing need and must out of my own language. So give yourself space and grace and time because it is that. Now, some of you were saying, but wait, there are some hard deadlines. Yes, there are a couple of hard deadlines that have consequences. Let's talk about that. Your taxes. Your taxes are due on a specific day. Can you pay them late? Yes, you can. You can pay them late. Are there consequences for paying them late? Yes, there are. There are consequences. So if you decide to go down the road of, I'm going to wait a little bit and not pay my taxes on time, okay, that's fine. You can do that. There's a consequence. And as long as you are okay with paying those consequences, then okay. Then we're not worried about it. What about having your vehicle inspected to get your tag, right? Now, I know here in the state of Texas, they give us notices, right? Like before it's due, they tell us, hey, it's almost time. Here's a whole month to get it done. And then when you're close to your time, they're like, hey, your 30 days are almost up. You might want to go ahead and get that done. But let's say you don't get it done, because guess what? If you get it done at the last minute, your tag does not come automatically. So what did they tell you? Keep this receipt in your car. So if you get stopped, you can tell them, I got it. So you have like a 30-day grace period in there. Please don't go out and do stuff that's, take care of your responsibilities. But there's a 30-day grace period in there. And if it's not done immediately, you got some time. You have a little bit of time there. And let's just say you're past the 30 days. You get a ticket. Now, I don't know your history and I don't like tickets, but again, you're going to pay for not meeting those hard deadlines. There are two others that I want to talk about, and then I'll get into some wiggle room. For those of us who like to cruise, you know how the captain says, hey, the ship time is this. We are leaving the port at this time. Do not change your watch, your phone to the local time. Stay on the ship time. Now, I will tell you, I believe in being early because being early is on time and being on time is late, and late is not acceptable. Therefore, I have never missed my boat. Never. I have seen people who have been really close to cutting it, and I have only seen videos of people who have been left behind. They will leave you. You know who else will leave you? The airport, or I should say your flight. If you are running to the airport to get to your flight and you're not there and they have closed all the doors, they're out. Now, those are, again, hard deadlines that if you choose to go against their advice and come later, you can pay to catch up. Like if you're stuck at that port, you have to pay to get to the next port. If you miss your flight, you can pay to get on the next flight or whatever flight's available. So there are places where we have hard deadlines that require us to be somewhere or to have something done, or we pay the consequences. Sometimes it's monetary. Sometimes it's just you lose your opportunity. Maybe if you're working for someone, you get written up. Who knows? what the consequence is, but there's a consequence. But let's remove those very big, obvious things. What about everything else we do? Let me pick on, as I like to say, social networking, but I'll go ahead and say social media, social platforms. Do you have to post 3 times a day? Do you have to create 10 stories? Do you have to do 8 reels today and get them scheduled and recorded and write the bio? Like, do you have to do it? Do you? What if you choose not to do it? What happens? Like, what happens? That blog post you want to send, you didn't write it, and now it's Thursday, Saturday, a whole week has gone by. What happens? Now, I have on my phone every Tuesday to write my newsletter to go out on Wednesday. Somehow I'm doing like 1 newsletter a month now. The alert's there, but if I choose to not do it, it's not going to, well, the world's not going to end, right? My customers are saying, oh my God, gee, I didn't get your newsletter. What's going on? They're not. Some of these priorities that we have, they're made. They are self-imposed. As a matter of fact, hold up, because I like to keep a list. So I have my make a plan. I have my make a plan here, and it has 2 columns. It has stuff I need to get done, stuff I like to get done. That's it. Now, I said that I was removing the need from my vocabulary. Like, I don't use it on a daily basis. But every day I pick 3 things that really do need to get done, because eventually that hard deadline catches up. So I host a couple of podcasts, and in order for me to be prepared and my guests to be prepared, I have to get them their information. I prefer to not do it the day before. I like to do it like 7 days out, but if I'm 5 days out, I'm still ahead of the game. That's a need to get done, because if we're going to record tomorrow, I don't want to send out that stuff today. I want to give them at least a day to get prepared. That's just being courteous. That's a need to get done, right? So there are some things that that hard deadline gets closer and closer. If you're going to host a webinar, you need to get some stuff done. Does it have to be done 2 months out? Probably not. You can probably wait like a month out, depending on what you're doing, depending on your marketing. Like, if the idea is to market this for 30 days, then you need to get that stuff created like 60 days out. So there are some places where we know there is this got to get done today, but that's for an entire week, for the whole week. So I write down the things that I would like to get done, things I would need to get done for the week. It doesn't say what day they should get done. It just says for this week, I need to get this stuff done. And this over here, well, if I get to it, I get to it. If not, okay, whatever. The world keeps on turning. Ain't nobody hurt. So it's okay. It's okay. So now that we've talked about these hard deadlines that do have real consequences, okay, how do we reclaim our time? Because that's the catch, right? The deal is, once I get it out of my head that some of the things that I'm doing, I'm creating the chaos for myself, where do I go after that? That's the next step. And time management is a major skill. There are some people who are great at it. A friend of mine, my dear friend Joe, told me just the other day, one, I'm a Virgo, but that doesn't mean that all Virgos are great with time. I've met some Virgos that are highly suspect, highly. But I also think I think they're August Virgos. You know how we feel about them. But okay, focus. She says to me, G, you are so good with managing time and managing multiple projects. Now, my previous life, I had to. I was scheduling out my year and my PTO a year in advance. So I had the whole entire year figured out. I had my PTO figured out. So if you wanted time with me, I was like, I'm checking the calendar, and I am free in August because I got a store opening. We got training here, store opening, training, presentation. I'm free in August. They're like, but it's only February. I get that. I get it, but I'm not here. So we have always worked in the future. When I was managing my sales trainers, I worked in 6-month blocks. Now I had the entire year figured out for our training sessions so that they could plan their PTO accordingly. That's just being courteous. But we worked in 6-month blocks. So we knew, hey, this first 6 months, we got this happening. This is going to happen. We're going to hire here. We're going to do this here, blah, blah, blah. Fill in the blanks for your PTO. Turn your PTO in so that we can go ahead, put it on the calendar. No one's overlapping. We're good. Can life change? Yes, but there are some things you can do to plan it out. So when we discuss reclaiming your time, I'm going to give you some of my tips on how I reclaimed my time. First of all, on that need to get done, I only pick 3 things every single day to get done, right? I know I have a whole entire list, but I only pick 3 things. Even matter of fact, we have our dear friend Peggy. She also mentions just write down 3 things you need to get done the very next day. So only pick 3 out of that list. I got 5 days and I'm working. Surely I can get through most of the list because I really don't put that much on there. Like, I don't know, maybe 7 or so things. But 3 things that you want to get done, that need to get done. And I'm going to go ahead and say that must get done for the next day. Pick those 3 things. And if you get those 3 things done, those 3 tasks, and you have time to pick up another, then pick up another. But pat on the back there because you got some things off the to-do list. The second thing that I like to do is I break down my projects into smaller tasks. So let's say you have that webinar and you really want to get a really great crowd. And so you're planning 90 days out. What do you need to do to have a really great turnout? Create your content, create the presentation, market the webinar, maybe do a blog post, but whatever it is, you know you have some tasks that need to be done. Now, instead of trying to do the entire thing at once, you break it down so that you have deadlines for yourself. When I was writing training, we knew what the deadline was. Now, the deadline was to have this training match the new product release date. Those 2 had to go hand in hand. So we had a deadline. We were like, look, it's got to be done here. But here's the catch. I have to write it. So-and-so needs to edit it. This team needs to read it. And that team needs to give it the final approval. That's a lot of eyes on one document. So we would start with our deadline, the final hard deadline, and we work our way back saying, great, in 2 weeks, so-and-so team needs to have it to get final approval. Week before that, this team needs to have it to look at edits. Week before that, so-and-so needs to make sure that the training actually works. And before that, we need the final draft. And before that, we need your second, whatever. So we work our way back. We create this timeline of when things need to get done. And therefore, you're not freaking out. Now, I hate this phrase, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. They always say, how do you eat an elephant? Which I don't even understand. The idea is it's a really, really big animal. And how do you tackle a really big animal? One bite at a time. Okay. So yeah, take your project, break it down into individual tasks, and give yourself deadlines for when it needs to be done. If you're ahead of the game, perfect. If you fall a little bit behind, it's okay. Typically, we would build in a buffer. We were never like, it's due the next week. We were never planning that close because, again, life starts lifing. Maybe you don't feel like writing today. Been there. But you got a buffer built into your timeline. So give yourself some room. Give yourself some room. Now, here's the last thing, and it's my favorite. I talk about it all the time if you see me on any other kind of show or on social media. 80-20. Develop an 80-20 mindset. You can call it a rule. I'm saying it's a mindset. It's a mindset. So I couldn't help but notice that our technology team lived an 80-20 life, right? It's technology. And I've used this example before. It's so great. I'm going to use it again. When tech companies put out something, it's never 100%. They're not looking for perfection. They are looking for an 80% product. It's the most valuable product. Customer can take it, get what they want, get a positive response, a positive experience, and they keep on keeping on. You can always go back and upgrade or update, i.e. that other 20%. You just need the most viable products. A number of us, and I am not one of them, so I can tell you that right now. Like, I've always been a slacker, so it is what it is. But a number of us mentioned how I want to be perfect. I want to be perfect. Now, I'm not so sure if it's I want to be perfect or I'm just a little fearful of what might happen when I show up in this space. Because sometimes waiting for perfection is an excuse. Yeah, it's an excuse. It's a reason to not get something done. It's a reason to keep delaying what you just need to get out there and do. It's a reason to not show up for yourself. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be. No, it doesn't. Because no one hardly even notices those things but us, right? When people are like, oh my God, I can't believe that is there. How come no one even noticed it? No one noticed. We noticed those things because it's close to us, right? It's our project. It's our baby, whatever. Like, we notice it. Most of your customers could care less. 80-20. You know how restaurants have soft openings? That's 80-20. It's like, we're not 100%. We're at 80%. So I'm going to go ahead, open my doors, test out some things, test out the crowd, maybe have a fun dish, see how things are working, give my new crew a chance to get their sea legs and things together, and do a soft opening. I know when we were working in retail, we would do a soft opening, but it was only family and friends invited. So family and friends could come in and shop, which allowed this entire new team of cashiers or registered salespeople, custom closet designers. It gave them time and a safe environment to work the kinks out before you open the door and all the real customers come in. Soft openings, it's 80-20. That's all it is. So if we could embrace the idea that it doesn't have to be perfect. One, the amount of stress goes out the window. It does. And your whole focus is, let me get enough. Let me create my most viable product. If it's 80% done, it represents my product in a positive light. My customer has a positive experience and they get the results they wanted and I get the results I wanted, then we are moving ahead. You can always update later because your cell phones do it all the time. Your laptops, your software, new update. 80-20. There's always room to make something better. Always room. Always room. But those are my three tips to reclaiming your time. And I'm really happy that we've had this opportunity to just go over these things because time is huge. The next time conversation, it's going to be a big one, in my opinion. It's going to be about managing your email because a lot of us get a lot of email. And I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of email running the way that I run. So we're going to talk about email in 2 weeks, as we mentioned before. HouJack DMS Live Learning is moving to an every other Wednesday at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're going to have these conversations. just so that we can take the time to really absorb it all and put it into practice, right? Because there's a lot, a lot going on out there, a lot going on. But time management specifically is a skill that we can all get better at. The idea is taking some of those tips from whomever and putting them into practice. First, we're gonna have to rethink what we're doing. Say it again. This is self-imposed chaos. A lot of this stuff is not a need to get done. Now, putting gas in your car, when that sucker is like close to E and the light has come on, I don't live that life. It just freaks me out. My husband does. He's like, oh, I still got at least another 30 miles. I'm not doing it. Self-imposed chaos. Change your language. Does it need to get done? Or is it I have a week to get these things done, and here's a list of what I would like to get done, right? And then reclaim your time. Break down those big projects. Develop an 80-20 mindset. And just pick 3 things every day, 3 tasks that you really want to get done. That's how you do it. Baby steps. So we want to thank you guys for watching. We love doing quick little lunch and learns, as I used to call it. A little lunch and learning. Again, we would love you guys to like, share, and subscribe if you're watching us here on YouTube, because we have a pretty good time here. We enjoy ourselves. You're getting some great info. It's quick and easy things that you can take and go do something else with. Like, you can take this and put it into practice immediately. Like, you don't have to try to figure it out. We're going to help you figure it out. All right. So until then, we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Almost. Okay. I'm not going to show my age. 2 and 2. I'm not going to do it. We'll see you all soon.